Hello and welcome to Richland Community Library's Ghost Board Tutorial with Miss Carrie. Today we're going to make this cute little ghost board. So you're going to need a canvas. It can be black. You can buy it black or you can paint it black, either way. Or you can buy a white one. You'll need a paintbrush, a large one. You'll need Mod Podge or some sort of a glue, like school glue would work just fine. Black acrylic paint, water, paper towel, extra water, and then today I am using plaster of Paris. You can also use some of that quick dry wall patch or plaster wall patch from the hardware store as well. And then you wouldn't have to mix your own. And then you'll also need some cardboard cutouts, little ghost shapes, so you can do different sizes if you wish. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna paint half of this board black. So I am just going to take my paint and I am just gonna put it on there. I'll add more if I need it, but I'm just gonna take my big brush and we wanna get right up to the edge. We want to make sure it's nice and smooth. We don't want to add any water to this at all because we want it to dry fairly quickly. Now this just needs to be half full. It can be, it doesn't have to be even. You can make it come way down here, whatever you want to do, but just make sure your paint is nice and smooth. So when you're done covering it, just bring the paint up so that it is nice and smooth on there. We're gonna work rather quickly today because plaster of Paris dries really fast. So when we go to make it, we will be moving quite fast through the tutorial. So feel free to stop and pause while you're watching this so that you can follow along. All right, I'm gonna wash this brush really nice. And dry it. Now on the bottom half where the ghosts are going to be, we're going to put just a little bit of a layer of glue. Okay, so I'm just going to dip my brush into the glue. Whoops, too high, but that's okay. I can smooth that out. And I'm just gonna bring the glue down. It doesn't matter if it mixes in with the paint at all. It's okay if it does that. It's gonna dry clear anyway. A little bit more glue. All right. And we don't want this glue to really dry too much before we start with the plaster. So I'm just gonna set that in the water. I'm gonna set this aside for just a second while we mix our plaster. So plaster of Paris is a dry mix here, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of water, not too much because we don't want it real runny. We want it to be the thickness of like soft serve ice cream. So just add a little bit of water at a time because you don't want to overwater it. So just keep going a little bit at a time. It's getting there, so we don't want to add too much more water. But we want to be able to get to the bottom here. Getting there. There's a little hard chunk down here. It does take a little bit of time to mix it up. Ooh, hopefully that's not too much. If you do accidentally put in too much, you can always add more plaster of Paris. Now if you're using like the quick set wall plaster or quick set wall patch, you won't have to do this mixing at all. You can just use it straight out of the tub. But you also might want to add maybe a little bit of wood glue or some sort of glue to help it become a little bit more solid than what it would be if you put it on the wall. We're getting there. And with this, if you don't make enough, you can always make some more, but you want it to be nice and thick. I'm trying to get all the hard patches at the bottom here. All right, see how it stays on the spoon? That's about how thick we want. Nice soft serve ice cream. I'm gonna set my spoon aside, and I think I'm gonna start with my larger ghost here, and I'm gonna pick up some of that plaster, and we're gonna start down here. I'm gonna press and pull, okay? Press and just gently pull. Now this is gonna add up over time, so don't worry if some of your black paint is on there. You can always paint it white if you need to. Press and pull. Press, pull. You can kind of shape your ghosts. I think we're gonna use a smaller ghost up here. I want a little guy right up here. Press and pull. Press and pull. Press and pull. And they kind of just build on top. So you want to make sure that you're starting from the top of your line and making your way down. I'm going to use some of these medium guys. Press, pull. And you want to fill up the whole bottom of your canvas. All right, so once you have all of your plaster on there or wall patch on there, you can choose to, one, plaster Paris isn't super white, but you could choose to wait for it to dry before you do anything else to it. Once it's dry, you can paint it white and put on the eyes, or if you don't mind the off-white look, I'll show you a good way to put on eyes. I'm going to take the black paint and the end of a paintbrush. So you're just going to put black paint on there, and we're just going to dot it onto our little ghosts. If you wanted to make mouths, you could do that as well, but I'm just going to make eyes. And then once the plaster of Paris is set up, you can go over it with Mod Podge or another spray sealant to seal it in, because it will react with moisture if it is not sealed. You could also use white to add words to the top if you wanted it to say boo or happy Halloween or any of that. And that is how you make a ghost board. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you again next time.